نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Welcome to the program of Miskaath, the second and in fact the last part of this program of Miskaath. I make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me the tawfiq of making amal, practicing on whatever had been said, and at the same time whatever had been mentioned, whatever you understood. It's important that you understand it well, as I've explained, and pass this message to the others so that they could become better Muslims. We've been through a series of ahadiths in regards to Iman, in regards to faith. And there are various aspects of faith that we have been discussing. If you look at the very first hadith, in that hadith, it was Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wassalam that came to the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam in a form of a human being. And he came and he asked various questions in regards to Islam. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam informed him what was Iman, what was Ihsan, etc. And after he had completed these questions, as Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave him answers, he then testified to say, whatever you said me is correct. And when the Sahaba Ikram said, Ya Rasulullah, this was very strange that a person asks you a question and then he testifies, yes, whatever you said to me is correct. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, O my Sahaba Ikram, do you know who the person was? They replied, Allah and His Rasul knows best. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam informed them that this was Jibreel Amin that came and taught you the Deen of Islam. So this was one way of informing the Sahaba Ikram what was propagation all about, how propagation could be done, how education could be imparted when a person asks you the question, and when you give him the answer, those that are sitting around could listen and practice. In the very first hadith, Iman, Ihsan, understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of whatever you do, that when we make ibadat, that we must at least focus on the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching whatever we do. As far as possible, we must try to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our salah. This is all part of Iman. This is a very high degree of Iman, where a person reaches that stage, that when he says Allahu Akbar, he now sees the anwar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If one did not reach that stage, if he cannot say Allahu Akbar and take his mind out of this dunya, out of this world, then at least Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that when a person makes Allahu Akbar and comes into salah, which is takbir tahrima, where that takbir that makes haram upon you every action that which was normally jaiz for you to do, like to look towards the left, look towards the right, talk to somebody, all of this becomes haram the moment you make Allahu Akbar. Then at least think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of your actions. This is part of Iman. That when you make ibadat to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you must stay focused in the anwar, in the tajalliyat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of your actions. This was the very first hadith. And in the end of this hadith, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam was asked this question by Jibreel Amin, when was Qiyamah? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam at that stage did not want to declare that Qiyamah is going to be on a certain date, etc., etc. But when he was further asked the questions that, Ya Rasulullah, could you give me certain signs? And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam very gladly gave Jibreel Amin certain signs of Qiyamah. And as days are going by, listeners, you will notice that these signs are coming it's coming in front of us. It's becoming a reality, where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that your servants will become masters. Your children that you had given birth will become your bosses. Those people that had no food, that walked bare feet, that hardly had any animals for conveyances, etc., today will be riding high. Today they will have huge buildings, that skyscrapers that we see around us. These are all signs of Qiyamah that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had mentioned. Then we've come through that hadith where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had stated that Islam is based on 5 pillars. This was a very, very important hadith. This is part of Iman. That just reading the kalima alone doesn't make a person a Muslim. Islam is based on 5 very strong pillars. The very first pillar is to recite the kalima, accepting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as one, and accepting the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam as Allah's messenger. This is part of Iman. And the other pillars is Salah, namaz, zakat, that we give once a year, Sawm, that we fast in the month of Ramadan, and going for Hajj if we have the ability. These are important aspects. These are actions that is compulsory upon every believer. These are things that should be given priority compared to every other nawafil, every other act of ours that we do as nafil. Faraiz should be given importance. This is what we have learned in the ahadiths of the past, that give importance and priority to that which is compulsory upon you. But at the same time, it does not restrict us that we cannot read any nafil, we cannot do any acts of nawafil, like for instance feeding the poor, whether it is an occasion, whether it is on a happy occasion or a sad occasion, you feed the people. Feeding the people, these are acts which is not compulsory, but it's an act of nawafil, it's an act of sawab, and you take the sawab and say, Ya Allah, I dedicate the sawab towards my parents. Ya Allah, I would dedicate the sawab towards my brother or my sister, etc. These are all acts of nawafil. It is not compulsory, but at the same time, you're not restricted not to do so. It is an option. You do it, you get sawab. You don't do it, you don't get sawab. My purpose of bringing this is that we should not forget what is our priority. Our priority is bringing faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bringing faith upon the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam as Allah's messenger, his acts, that what he taught us, that which he practiced and the Sahaba Ikram had witnessed, to emulate, to bring that as our day-to-day practices, is to follow the teachings of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. All of this, respected viewers, this will increase our iman. Then we've come through the ahadiths where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had spoken about the taste of iman, where a person loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he does not love anybody together with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, he does not seek a partner to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had said that when a person has these aspects, he will taste the what you call it, sweetness of iman. And there in that particular hadith, I remember mentioning to the listeners that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam used the word taste. When you eat food, you drink any cold drink or any juice, we get taste. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam used this word of taste in iman. Yes, there is that taste a person would get by loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by loving his Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam, by doing things to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A person will get certain amount of pleasure doing it. And this reminds us that we must not be like parrots. Listen to this person, do that without any concentration, without any feeling. When you make ibadat, you must feel that, Ya Allah, for what you have given me and what I am doing in return is no comparison. For whatever good I have done in compared to what you have given me is no comparison. I have hardly done anything to make shukr to you. So there must be that passion. There must be that love. A person must enjoy doing what he is doing in terms of ibadat. Then he will get the taste of iman. So this is the other aspect that we have discussed about Iman. And the other part of it where Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam had stated that a person cannot be a true Muslim unless and until he does not love me the most. This is part of Iman. And the love of the beloved Nabi Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam increases Iman. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من والده وولده والناس أجمعين. That a person cannot be a true believer, he cannot be a true mu'min unless and until he does not love me the most. So love of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam is so important that that should be prioritized compared to everything that we love. When one looks at himself today, dear listeners, the first thing that we love is our own body. We love our wealth. We love our wives. We love our children. And what a man would not do in order to make his wife happy. What a man would not do to make his children happy. A man would wake up 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and he would set out doing his duties, going to work. If he's a businessman, he will come, get hold of his managers, get hold of his workers. This is the plan of action today. This is how I need you all to do work today. When I look at the stats for last month, we didn't do that well. This month we need to do better. We strategize, we plan just to improve our business, to improve our work, to get more wealth. For who? For yourself, for your wife, for your children. But how much of this do we do to please the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, to have that love for the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam? And yet Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam stated that as long as and until you do not love me the most, you are not a true believer. Yet we focus towards this dunya, we focus towards ourselves, and very seldom do we focus towards the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, having his love in our heart, sending durood and salawat with love towards the beloved Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept whatever I have said for the past 13 episodes, and I dedicate this sawab towards my late parents Haji Abdul Ghafoor and my late mother Hajani Ruqayya B. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them Jannat al-Firdaus, not forgetting my asatiza Hadat Qibla Marhum Maulana Ashraf Sialbi, Maulana Sahibzada Aziz Ahmad Saab, my Ustaz al-Mukarram Sayyid Hasinuddin Shah, his late brother Shaykh al-Hadith Hazrat Maulana Ghulam Muhyiddin Shah, his brother Hazrat Sayyid Abdul Rahman Shah. These were all my ustads that have taught me the deen of Islam. Today I'm able to teach and able to say a few words. It is because of these great ulama that have assisted me and helped me during the course of my life. And my pure Murshid Hazrat Khaja Qamruddin Sialbi, who spiritually elevated me. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exalt his status. Jazakallah khair, wa ma alayna illa al-balagh al-mubin.
لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان